Today on Locked On Rockies, the little things matter in the game of baseball, and they were costly as the Rockies throw away a game in Houston that they should have won.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 15th day of April in the year 2026. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, you're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. Today, we're going to react to the Rockies' loss to the Astros in a game that they did show some fight. They were able to have some positive moments, including Jordan Beck's first home run and a multi-home run day from Hunter Goodman, but too many little mistakes. And in the game of baseball, those are always going to cost you, and they're going to cost a team like the Rockies extra when you have to execute perfect. You have to do everything right in order to beat good teams. That's what they did when they swept the Astros the first time. And in this first game, they didn't do that, and it was costly. We'll also talk about the fact that Antonio Senzatella is rolling right now. Hey, that was a tough loss, but he has been a completely different pitcher to start the season. So let's talk about that. And let's just talk about the unfortunate nature of this Rockies loss, especially considering the fact that the veterans were the ones that were the issue in this one, or at least played a role in the issue, because there was a lot of problems here. We'll break it all down on today's episode, but before we go any further, want to let you know that your support has helped make Locked On the #1 sports podcast network, so thank you for that. And I am, of course, Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinaire. Been doing this for over 6 seasons now. That's hundreds of episodes of the Locked On Rockies podcast with you, the Rockies fans, going through the good, the bad, the ugly of everything Colorado Rockies baseball. And this is a tough one. This is another one-run loss. This is a blown early lead, like we've seen the Rockies now do a couple of times, and do a couple of times against two good teams on the road, mind you, here. Getting some early offense and being able to set the tone and do some damage on the road is always a good sign for the Rockies offense. But unfortunately, the Rockies fork it over in the face of a 6-run bottom of the third. And there's a whole bunch of stuff, including the errors there, and a tough day for Willie Castro all around, going 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts and 2 errors on the day. You just can't have that. I mean, the way the Rockies lost this one, the way it got out of hand, and as much as it's a bummer, and for Michael Lorenzen, he has to bear the brunt of this too. I mean, you need to execute on his end as well. But that type of stuff is just, you just can't have that. There's way too many things in this game that where you were just like, come on, guys. Like, this is when you make the noise, and I know it's the beginning of the climb and there's a lot, but when there is some noise being made, when you make a lot of statements, when it's we're a different team, the way this game played out is not an example of that. And while I agree that they aren't the same team, they are a more competitive team. We will talk about the good things that happen in this one. This is an example, though, of you need to play great defense every game. You cannot afford, against the #1 offense in baseball, you can't have 2 errors. You can't give the #1 offense, and the only reason the Astros have a chance in baseball games right now is because of their offense. You can't give them a reason to get rolling, especially at home. Free errors are so costly. And then to mix in with that at the end of the game there, hey, Brett Sullivan, you got to know the situation here, that what's going on there. You got to be running with your head down the whole way. The problem, and Michael Lorenzen, you got to make a pitch to get out of that. You got to step up and be this veteran leader that you've been so vocal about, and we know that you can be, and step up in this situation and get yourself out of that and limit the damage there. Execute your pitches, start missing some bats. What's frustrating about that loss is those 3, Those are the vets. These are the guys that the Rockies have to are turning to as the leadership here of the team. And it's a reminder, of course, that, even though they're the leaders, even though they're veterans, even though they're experienced, that doesn't mean they are perfect or anything like that. But sometimes your leaders are gonna, sometimes the vets or the main guys, whether the main guys in the order, are going to have their off days, and it's up to the rest of the lineup to pick them up. And for the most part, they did. I mean, there were some big time situations where the Rockies got some big hits, but they also again struck out 12 times. Another game, and this is against the Houston Astros pitching staff that's allowing 6+ runs a game. Has an ERA, a team ERA of 7. This is an Astros pitching staff that is depleted, and the Rockies go up there and it's swing, 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 swing. They do. Their lack of patience continues to cost them. It is in their DNA, and it is up to them. At this stage, it is up to these players to show us, like Ezequiel Tovar, at least on that at bat where he draws a walk later in the game, after earlier in the game 3 sliders or sweepers or whatever they were away, where it's swing, 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 boom, non-competitive, weren't even close. It was automatic. It can't be like that. The strikeouts, the swing and miss, the free swinging, the lack of discipline, the horrendous at bats are unacceptable for the Colorado Rockies. And it's a tired talking point. I know it's the umpteenth day in a row I'm talking about the Rockies having an issue when it comes to swinging and missing and strikeouts, but it is the biggest issue with the team. They will not improve. They will not get better. They will not avoid 5-game losing streaks if they keep striking out 12 times a game. If they can keep getting set down on 3 pitches, if they're being not competitive and getting blown away on stuff where it's just throw it in the other batter's box, because they're going to swing at it, because the Rockies swing more than anybody, especially the Rockies' number 1 bat, supposedly Ezequiel Tovar, who leads the league in whiff. That it was great to see Tovar adjust and take that walk later in the game, but it is increasingly frustrating when the guy that we need to take the biggest step forward continues to just have the game plan is obvious about him, and he hasn't been able to make the adjustments. And it could just be the cold streak, and there's plenty of time. That's, I think, the other way to look at this loss and look at this losing streak, especially on the heels of the winning streak that they had and the hype that they had going in before the Padres series, is, there is a lot of baseball left, and all of this can change, but it is just the main frustrating, the stuff that was frustrating about last year, the stuff that's been frustrating you about the Rockies for the last couple of years, is still very much happening, especially with the offense. But it's not like Ezequiel Tovar is not going to be a guy that's going to be clutch and come up in big situations and be huge for the Rockies this year. It's not like it's not like he's not one of the best weapons in the Rockies lineup. They do, though, this entire team, whether it be the veteran guys that are trying to have their second win breakout with the Rockies, or the young guys on the Rockies roster, they all need to show that they can take another step forward on offense, because this is still a game where they had 12 hits. 3 of them were home runs. They drove in 6 in this game. And walked 4 times. This is a situation where the Rockies had ample opportunities to land the haymaker big blow, but it's 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Great to see 2-out RBI from Beckman and McCarthy and Goodman. Awesome that they continue to drive in runs and have some clutch situations happen with 2 outs. But you got to put the nail in the coffin right away, especially with the way that the Rockies were rolling to start this game and the opportunities that they had in this one. It's the same old song and dance, and it's the same thing that cost them, mixed with the fact that you can't afford to give 2 free passes to the Astros. You got to catch that weakly hit pop fly in the infield. That has to be caught. I know it came off the bat weird, but that is unacceptable for that ball to hit the ground. And so this game was another example of one where the Rockies need to learn how to win, and they weren't able to figure it out. Let's talk about some of the good stuff that happened in this game, though, because we can't ignore the fact that Antonio Senzatella has looked incredible out of the bullpen for the Rockies, and the fact that the bullpen was able to stabilize this one again. But the highlight, still, a guy that I had my doubts about going into the season, he has been awesome for the Rockies. Let's talk about that coming up next. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Rocket Money. If you've ever opened your bank account and thought, where did all my money go? You're not alone. Keeping track of subscription spending and bills can get overwhelming fast. I just said that. Subscription spending and bills. How overwhelmed did you get just in those three words, basically? That's where Rocket Money comes in, helping you take control of your finances all in one place. It tracks all your subscriptions in one spot and can help cancel the ones you don't need with just a few taps. And you can set budgets, get alerts, and stay on top of upcoming bills. It just makes everything feel more organized and gives you a clearer picture of your finances day to day. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Important in this crazy world. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Back at it here for segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thanking you again for making us your first listen of the day. Hey, don't forget about the Everydayer Club. And this is a shout outs to Lux in the Everydayer Club. He wanted a rant episode today. I think it's a tough one. I want to rant and rave, but at the same time, I don't know necessarily if the Rockies there was good stuff that happened in this one, and they did show some fight. So it's not a full rant, but I got a little fired up there in segment 1. So I hope that'll do there for you there in Lux. But join our Everydayer Club Discord server. Join the ad-free audio listeners out there. $5 a month, $50 a year. LockedOnRockies.supercast.com. LockedOnRockies.supercast.com. So, blown leads are, they'll always make you extra mad, right? They'll always frustrate you. They'll always make it, a extra upset there, especially when this team goes out on the road and has some success. This team is punishing a team that's on the ropes, a team that's struggling when it comes to pitching, and then they let him back in. This is just like that Saturday German Marquez where the Rockies jump out in front. The Rockies have to do some damage, but then they just keep letting these good teams. I mean, again, the Astros are a lot better than their record is. The Astros are going to be a factor this year, certainly. They're just super banged up, and it's the beginning of the year. But right now in this, and this is still the time to take advantage when you have it, especially because, the Rockies out-hit the Astros in this one. The Rockies struck out 9 Astros in this one. The Rockies had 3 home runs. Jordan Beck hits his first one. Hunter Goodman hits a couple. He also strikes out 3 times. Another game where Hunter Goodman strikes out 3 times. That's just what's it really just makes it really annoying, especially when it's big time strikeout days from the 4-hole hitter. You can't have Willie Castro in there striking out 3 times, batting 4th. That just can't happen. The Rockies are desperate for a true cleanup hitter. They need just this. It is so long overdue for them to have just this crazy bat. Charlie Condon hopefully will fill that role as he continues to rake there in the minor leagues. But the Rockies are desperate for a true 4-hole hitter, a true cleanup hitter that actually will strikes fear into the hearts of other teams and really puts them in a situation to to drive in some runs. And tough that the Rockies couldn't get Mickey Moniak to come up clutch in this one, as he pops up with the runner with the bases loaded there, and the Rockies in as well go in general. Moniak goes 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Freeman 0 for 2. Johnston and McCarthy though. Johnston off the bench comes up clutch late in that one, and McCarthy with that 2-out triple. Beck 0 for 1, but he hits his first home run there. He also picks up a couple of hits, which would be great. The Rockies would love to get him going there. Someone that they would jumpstart a little bit of this offense as well. But a 2 strikeout day for Ezequiel Tovar, 3 strikeouts for Hunter Goodman, and 3 strikeouts for Willie Castro. Too many important bats in this lineup to be striking out at that rate. And the Rockies starters here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 9 Rockies starters with a strikeout in this ball game against, again, an Astros pitching staff that has not been great. But the good news here, the main highlight here, Antonio Senzatella. This guy is on a roll. 3 1/3 innings pitched. He throws 3 strikeouts. He does not allow an earned run. I believe he gets the first base runner he allowed to the Houston Astros. Let me read this here from Twitter from Patrick Lyons, I believe. But let me scroll. Yeah. Patrick Lyons, Antonio Senzatella finally allows a base runner to Houston after retiring 12 consecutive Astros. Senzatella has not given up a run on just 4 hits in 11 1/3 innings with 14 strikeouts in 2026 so far. He's looked like a completely different pitcher this season. Absolutely. It's the new pitch mix. It's the fact that the fastball has life. And he has life. He coming out of the innings and he's slapping the glove. He's pumped up. And I have to tip my cap here. Again, this is it is April. There's a long way ahead. But so far to this season, Antonio Senzatella was one of the Rockies that needed to show one of the biggest turnarounds in one of the most important turnarounds. And so far this season, he has led the pack in that. He has looked like a completely different guy out of the bullpen, and he has been spectacular. This is a prolonged stretch of success for Senza at Coors Field, on the road, back and forth. He is a completely different guy out there. And to see him stepping off the field, pounding the glove, for him to have the energy, for him to have the fire, that's a guy that is bought in and has really embraced this role. This is a guy that's really benefiting from going into spring training, going into this offseason, approaching this new coaching staff, and really diving all in. So for at this stage, and again, it's a long season. I understand that's important context there, but right now, Antonio Senzatella has been one of, if not the best Rocky on the team. I mean, it might maybe the best. It might be a little bit of a stretch, but he's got a 0 ERA. He's been incredible out of the bullpen. He's handled multiple situations that and gotten out of jams. He's executed. He's gone up against top tier bats. He's gotten big timeouts. He's come and stabilized games for the Colorado Rockies. This is one of the best versions of Antonio Senzatella that we've ever seen. Small sample size, sure. But we were saying, what does Senza out of the bullpen look like? And he has been looking spectacular. And hopefully it continues here. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see, obviously, what the Rockies in terms of decisions, but for him as the player, again, I've tried to establish that it's I'm always rooting for guys. I'm always rooting for the Rockies too, but Senza, a guy that I've been probably, I've been very critical of for an extended period of time. He has been awesome this year, and he has been awesome. That is the best offense in baseball that he has now seen again, and he shuts them down. That's a darn good performance from him, and really a darn good performance from the Rockies bullpen there, as Mejia and Agnos also have hitless. Was it no, not hitless, but scoreless performances there. And keep the Rockies in a situation where they were able to chip away. They were able to fight back. Mejia gets a strikeout, and Agnos picks up a couple of strikeouts there. Only 4 hits allowed over the back half of the ball game for the Rockies against the number 1 offense. That's a good win. Unfortunately, Michael Lorenzen gives up seven runs, but here's the kicker: only 2 of them are earned. I mean, that's the important context to be looking at the pitcher. That's when we were talking about how the little things and the Rockies not getting Sullivan to hustle there. That's what spoils this. This game could have been exactly like the first game of the Rockies' first series against the Astros, where it was a slugfest, where it was back and forth. The Rockies didn't execute in the ways that they executed in that first game, that to get the runners across. It really does go back to the little things there. The Rockies, throughout the rest of that game, chipped away, and throughout the rest of the game had opportunities to come back and tie it, take the lead, drive in some runners, and drive in runners in earlier innings, and they weren't able to do so and come up 1 run short, as they have come up multiple times now throughout this season. With more games, I'm starting to lose count, but it's what now, 6 or 7 1-run loss games for the Colorado Rockies in 2026. It's a more competitive team, certainly, but it doesn't make the loss any more frustrating. But the good news is the Rockies got a chance at getting a series win and a bounce back game against the Astros team that still is depleted on the pitching side. And the Rockies offense did show up. Let's look ahead to game number 2 and put a bow on this one coming up in segment number 3. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Indeed-sponsored jobs, workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed-sponsored jobs. Indeed-sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed-sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing those candidates that do check those boxes. And when you have the right person cut through the chaos, it's going to be a job for Indeed-sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about us on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed-sponsored jobs. Rockies lose to the Astros there, but good to see some home runs. Good to see some big hits there. Hopefully, like we said, hopefully this is the emergence of a confident and more comfortable Jordan Beck. Kyle Caro's picking up a couple of hits. Jake McCarthy a couple of hits as well. That's what stinks. This was, in the box score on the stat sheet, there is some good stuff, some good looking stuff, but there's also those ugly numbers that loom there, as all the damage was done basically through the course of just 2 innings, really all in the third inning. But the second inning there was a run as well. But the third was the big damage dealer. Good news for the Rockies is they get to play another baseball game, and we'll see. And how about this? For the first time, maybe ever, that I have looked at a game preview here on ESPN, there is not a single projected starting pitcher listed here. So I would imagine that it's going to be Tanner Gordon, who was called up today, as Beozo was optioned to AAA, and Tanner Gordon was called up. There's also Jose Quintana, but I believe I heard that it was supposed to be the Thursday start. If I did hear correctly, I might be wrong, but it'll be interesting here again. So this is still a prime opportunity, a prime bounce back opportunity here for the Rockies, as the Astros, they might have snapped their 8-game losing streak, but they are not out of it yet. still had to use a couple of options here in this one as well. The Rockies end up having the Astros have to turn to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitchers in this one. Now, some of them are probably going to return here in this series, but that's still 6 pitchers they had to see, and the Rockies were able to basically, to keep chipping away at a couple of them here and keep themselves in this ball game. The starting pitching will be a big determining factor here for the Rockies in this second game, and hopefully it's a turnaround there, because it stinks when it's things that that the Rockies could avoid and should avoid that were the big issues in this one. Strikeouts obviously the big thing, but we're talking errors, we're talking not executing on the base pass when they should. But here's hoping Rockies are able to go out there and do some damage. Let me see if I can. I wanted to bring up here one more tweet from the Rockies here. 12 1/3, 4 hits, 3 walks, 15 strikeouts here. This is from Eli Whitney on Twitter. One of the best performances here for Senza. I mean, one of the best starts to a season really for Senza. I mean, I just think that is a great sign, and this bullpen continues to get leaned upon, and for him to be able to keep rising to the occasion, just really, who knows? I mean, it's obviously too early to tell, but for Senza, you're talking about facing one of the lowest points of your career, especially when you're talking last year and the recent performances and dealing with injuries. It has not been an easy going for Senza whatsoever the last couple of years. But to be able to come out rolling like this, to be able to thrive in this role, to see the obvious confidence oozing out of the guy right now is awesome to see, and is something that is makes it enjoyable here to watch. And this is something that is an easy thing to say and an easy thing to brush off a loss like this, but man, at least the Rockies are a more competitive team here. At least the Rockies did show some fight in this one and were able to chip away. It really felt like if that was a game in 2025, it would be 14-5, 14-4, whatever. Just was something that would just get so completely so far out of hand, and then it would just there wouldn't be much of a response for the Rockies to still throw a couple of punches, to make things interesting, to make some noise there. That's good to see too. It has made for a more enjoyable viewing experience. But this one, certainly one of those ones that you can file under frustrating and annoying losses, because the Rockies certainly had ample opportunities to win. We'll be breaking down game number 2 of this series, of course, on Locked On Rockies. Let me know your reactions in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section down below. But that's going to do it for us here on the show today. For your second listen, go check out Locked On MLB and all the great stuff we got going on over there. Locked On MLB, Back to the Bullpen, and the Locked On MLB Game Night podcast. Of course, we got you covered as the playoffs heat up and get ready to get underway for the NBA and NHL. Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Nuggets. They got you covered there, as we are hoping for big things for our boys here in Denver this postseason. And, of course, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Buffs got you covered as well. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.